I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Jacksonville Beach Zoning Variance Board to order. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Scott Cummings,
Present.
Alexa Gonzalez, John Moreland,
Would you say?
John Moreland,
No, here.
Francis Reddington,
Present.
Jeff Trueheart,
Here.
Owen Crowley,
Present.
Dan Imali,
Present.
Okay, I have had no ex parte communications with anyone regarding any of the cases tonight.
No ex parte communication.
I've had none. I've had none. I've had none.
I have none.
And we need to approve the minutes of February 17th, which I assume everybody's had an opportunity to look at.
I'll make a motion to pass the minutes.
Second. Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no correspondence, and we have, actually, are these first two cases old business or new business? Because they're on the last two. Yeah, we have two cases of old business.
Case number BOA 21-10001, applicant agent Hilton and Scott Meadows, owner Your House Family Trust, property address 350 13th Avenue South, parcel ID 176272-0000, legal descriptions lot 5 and 6, Lot 134, Pablo Beach South, current zoning C1, a variance from Land Development Code Sections 34-377 for 12 parking spaces in lieu of 17, required to allow for a 7-foot square addition to an existing medical office.
Okay, if the owner or agent would please allow yourself to be sworn in.
could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you could please state your name and address clearly into the microphone.
Thank you.
If you can give your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Hilton T. Meadows. The address is 900 Cecily Boulevard, Suite 103, Jacksonville, Florida 32211. I'm the old man, and the young man, Scott, is back here in the room.
And what's the nature of the hardship created by your property?
The nature of the hardship relates to the fact that in order to comply with the code in terms of the number of parking spaces for the square footage in the building and for the need for these people to conduct the activity, the physical therapy activity, critical care activity that they conduct, we need a variance to be able to add approximately 700 square feet of treatment area. We're not adding staff. He just has an absence of treatment area in order to adequately treat his patient. And the hardship is related to exactly that. The 6 parking spaces that are now here, as you can see, the 6 parking spaces we're talking about are on the upper side of the screen that we're looking at, and they are directly pointed toward the facility. And I happen to know the guy who developed this, who happened to have been Ted Alvarez many years ago. And those spaces were really built at that time to accommodate that building.
But those are on the public easement, are they not?
Excuse me?
Those are on the public easement?
They are, in fact, yes. Yes, indeed. We're not claiming otherwise. And the spaces are there. I've checked them regularly now for the last 3 months. And the most use I've seen of them was this weekend when you all had an overflow crowd here at the beach. But during the course of the week, I've seen two people parked there. And at that same time, there were 2 people, most of the time, parked in the business parking spaces. So this is kind of a matter of semantics in terms of being able to add the 700 square feet, which obviously will contribute to your ad valorem taxes.
So add the 700 square feet, I assume that's more treatment facilities, so I assume you're increasing your volume of customers?
I beg your pardon?
Adding 700 square feet of treatment would increase your volume of customers, would it not? People in the facility would add 700 square feet.
He needs, as he has people in the process of treatment, then he has people who need to be in a palliative mode, lying on table or on wherever he has them awaiting the further treatment. It's a process of treatment, as you know, if you've been to one of those things.
So how much extra volume of caseload does he expect with the additional 700 feet?
How much volume does this add?
How much customer volume? How many more patients will they see with this additional space?
I don't think he's looking for patient growth as much as he is looking for the accommodation of the patients he already had. And when he first bought this, when they first bought this property, we also talked with you all about their need at that time because of the process of the activity which they conduct. And at that time, we backed away from going ahead with what we're now trying to get you all to do for us. And he has found that because of the manner in which his patients flow through the treatment process, that he needs additional area for them to go into a waiting mode in order to circulate back through the treatment process.
So, are you just losing one space, as far as my count off?
Sorry,
It looks like you have 13 now and you're going to 12. Did I count that right?
Well,
On your property, not the 6 on the public right of way.
yeah, what we're doing obviously is working with the issue of the handicap space, which is, let me see if I have my map in front of me and I can talk a little bit more intelligently about it. Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I'm counting 13 on the existing and 12 on the proposed.
Yeah, it will reduce to 12, that is correct, simply because of the way, if you look over here on this side, there had been on the original site plan, which I don't see displayed, but over here on this corner, in this left-hand lower corner, there had been a dumpster there.
Mm-hmm.
And what they've done is move the dumpster in a different configuration. And then that took out one space where there had been 14 spaces there to start with, totality. So we're losing that space by way of putting in the addition to the building. You can see it cross-hatched right there in that same area.
So I've been to that treatment facility. They do a nice job there, and I've never seen a parking issue there, but I don't drive by it all.
I'm having a hard time.
I say I've been in that treatment facility and drive by frequently. I've never seen them struggling for parking there. So I
No,
was trying to figure out the count. The 6 on the right of way, I would get 19. It just looks like you're just adding or subtracting one parking spot.
yeah, in a sense, whether you all agree with what we're trying to do or not, those parking spaces are there and available. They're there and available. So what we're trying to do is purely a semantical thing by way of complying with your code in order for them to continue the operation and not be in violation if somebody does park there.
But anybody can use those 6 spaces. They're in no way they can be reserved for your client.
That's precisely correct.
Yeah. Okay, how many professionals are seeing patients in that office?
There are only 2.
Okay. And what size staff do they have?
He has 2 more.
Okay, so that's 4.
And his wife is one of those.
Okay.
That counts, no.
She's one of the owners.
Lights count.
Wives count.
I beg pardon?
Lights count.
I think so.
But
Nice
you're
to
saying
match it,
the
yeah.
husband and the wife drive together, so that's just one parking spot. The husband and wife drive together was your point going so that it's only one spot, not four. I mean, it's-
Correct. And
And how many patients does each therapist see at the same time? In other words, where they're in that internal rotation?
if I understand it correctly, and I can't give you an exact answer to your exact question, but as I understand it, there are about 3 to 4 patients who are in the process for each one of the, I start to say doctor, each one of the professionals at the same time.
Okay. So if all the patients drove and parked in the parking lot, and all the staff parked in the parking lot, that would take up a total of 12 spaces.
Pretty much. That would pretty much be the case. But we're still confronted with the issue of whether or not we're going to be able to go through the building department over here and get that permit for those additional 700 square feet.
One last question, do you know how many treatment rooms you have in the facility?
Sorry, sir?
How many treatment rooms, I assume? I've never been in, so I assume there's treatment rooms in the facility?
I believe there's 4 right now.
Okay. And this adds more treatment rooms to the...
2 more.
Okay, thank you.
Is your facility open on weekends?
Excuse me?
Is your facility open on weekends?
On weekend?
Yes.
No. If it is, it's only on Saturday morning. But the times I've been out here on the weekends, they're not at all.
Any other questions? I don't know. Okay, you may be seated. You may be seated.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate your attention.
And I believe we have no request for no cards. Okay. I call the public hearing part of this case to close and bring the matter back before the board.
I struggle seeing the hardship here.
I've been in there just a year ago for treatment. And I saw a number of people, he said they worked there. And come in, there's you check in, there's 3 people working there, clerical workers, independent, but there was more than 2 people. See, they could see patients. And when I went there, at times it was hard to get doctors. So that's it. That was a year ago.
I've been in there as well, and there were 2 clerical workers, the 2 that he mentioned giving treatment. And I've never seen a parking issue with, unfortunately, I've never.
Yes.
I've driven by it a couple times since we've scheduled this hearing, and I've never seen any parking issues. But I've driven by different hours of the day.
But I'm still trying to find a hardship. We need a variance. Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to grant something because the business isn't there. This now will be forever granted in this building's operation going forward.
We could amend it to the particular business bill.
True. Good point.
And then take out.
Obviously, we don't know what the future lies, but the way that whole center is, you got Kamaya right next there, that's an evening type of restaurant. Because I parked in that parking lot in front of his place when I was on Kamaya before for dinner, because that shopping center parking lot can get pretty busy on a Friday night. But that's no problem there, there's no problem. Where you park on the other side of the street too, where there's auxiliary parking.
0. Legal description, lot 9, block 4, Avalon Unit 3, Section 8, zoning RS1. Variance from development code sections 34-236E1C.2. Side yard setbacks of 5 feet in lieu of 10 feet minimum. 7.5 previously approved to allow for a single-family dwelling. And that's it.
Okay, if you'll please allow yourself to be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And if you could please state your name and address into the microphone for the record, please.
Charles Mann, 165 Arlington Road, Jacksonville, Florida, 32211. My name is Charles Mann. I'm representing Chuck Hires. He's a custom home builder in the northeast Florida region. He's built homes in Sawgrass, Marsh Landing, Deerwood, a lot of the upland communities throughout the northeast. He's the owner of this lot. He has a client who wants to buy the lot and build a custom home on it, but he's having a hard time working out his floor plan. Currently, it's a very unique situation. It is a legal, non-conforming lot of record in the RS1 zoning category, which calls for, I think, an 80 or 90 foot wide lot. This is only a 60 foot wide lot, which gives us a very narrow, skinny building plan. We're trying to widen the building plan so that we can put a bigger floor.
If I can interrupt for a second, I'm having trouble hearing you. Could you talk a little louder through the mask?
I can try to, sir.
Okay.
I've got a restriction that limits my voice,
Ah, okay.
and I'm very sorry.
Okay.
But anyway, we're trying to get a little larger floor plan on the site to make it work for the client. We're asking for the reduction from 7.5 feet that exists currently on the sides to 5. We'll keep the front setback as it is currently and the rear setback. But what makes this additionally a unique piece of property is at the very end of Possibility on Boulevard, on the cul-de-sac, the property to the rear of the property, the rear property line is contiguous to a lot that is also owned by Mr. Hires, that is accessible only from Avalon Circle. The property to the south of this is a piece of property that is owned by the city of Jacksonville Beach. It was deeded to them by FDOT, so it's vacant property and will probably remain in that status for some time to come, if ever it will be developed. We're seeking to benefit ourselves with a more flexible floor plan, more flexible architectural ambiance to the property. We're trying to keep the property values. We'd like to see property or a house the same size as other ones in the neighborhood, and increase in size, the decrease in size setback will allow us to do that. This will also help to maintain property values in the neighborhood, allow us to build a house that is more conforming to the neighborhood. It should also help raise the tax rolls for the property in the immediate area. I'd like to remind the committee that July 7th of 2020, a very similar request was before you. That was OR, 20-1050. It was a piece of property 4221 2nd Street South. And again, it was a non-conforming lot of record. A lot that was 60 feet wide. The request was again for a reduction in setback from 7.5 feet to 5 feet, and that was approved by this board. During the process of that hearing, as even noted by a member of the planning staff or someone on this board, this is a very common request for the Avalon area, that they find a necessity because there's now lots of record to give them more area to build and reduce the side setbacks. That being said, I ask that you approve our request tonight, and I'll stand back for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any
Just-
questions?
Yeah. Okay. Is that part of the package, correct?
More than one, you know,
I don't see that.
Wrong one. Apologize.
easy.
Sorry. No, it's my fault. I apologize. What's the hardship?
Just as we would like to build a house that's compatible to the other homes in the neighborhood.
That's not a hardship.
Well, the fact that we're required to have a lot of record in the zoning category that we don't fit in. And we meet the requirements of a lot of record. I mean, the zoning category, plus our building signs down so far, we can't be compatible with the lots already been approved, have already been granted the same variance in the same neighborhood.
It's narrower than the standard, so it's a hardship.
It appears they were already granted a side setback of
7.5 feet.
7.5. Back in,
Here, I don't know.
have certain requirements of the house size?
I'm sorry, sir.
Was there any requirements of the square footage of the house in that? Because I know there's a lot of PUD requirements in the Avalon district.
I don't know if there's a covenant restriction that restricts the size of the house.
Well, no, minimum size. I'm just asking. You're asking for a bigger house. I was wondering if that was to meet anything in the Avalon requirements.
No, sir, I do not believe there are.
Okay, because I know the front sidewalks, porches was one of the requirements. They want everything pushed forward. I remember that. How big is this house you're planning on building?
It's going to be right around 3,800 square feet is what we'd like to put on.
Wow, a lot of house.
I think that's considerably bigger than most.
That's
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we're having a hard time fitting it on. That's what we'd like to do. We're going to have to cut it down to fit the footprint, building, envelope that we can get if we can get the reduction.
And the question to the, John, if you were on the board back in 2011, didn't we kind of blanket all these policies in place in the Avalon? But we kind of rolled them all out, similar to side yards and everything consistently.
Yeah.
The whole project, I was on board with that.
Yeah.
We did. Okay. Those are my questions.
And 3,800 square feet sounds like a lot, but it's only, you're going to say, the application says 3,000 square feet, so it's well within the percent lot coverage. Am I correct?
So I'm having a hard time understanding.
Your lot coverage is going to be around 30%,
Yes, sir.
which is less than a standard lot.
Where, well, when I say 30%, he's granted 47 already, correct?
Yeah.
He's granted 47.
Well, it is up to 47.
Is it 47 currently?
Okay, I missed that.
Just the side yards he's looking to grow.
Just the side, yeah.
The only issue is the side yard. We can live with the front setback, the side setback, the rear setback, and the coverage of the lot. We're not asking for anything other than what we're got right now on that.
Because this lot's been granted all those already as part of the Avalon
Yes,
process.
sir.
Okay.
Have you communicated with the neighbor that's next to that lot?
No, sir, we have not.
And there was no sign out there.
But they got a letter
I
too.
understand, but I'm just saying there is no sign.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir.
I bring the public hearing to just stop and bring it back before the board for discussion and some type of decision.
I mean, my comments, I said the Avalon was pretty consistent because it wasn't pretty, they were all non-conforming lots.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I know the board did receive some pushback on allowing all this.
I'm just not sure I see the.
We're granted 7.5.
Granted 7.5, 2.5 feet, so.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
It's just hard to make a decision. We don't have any feedback from the neighbor there.
Yeah.
We have to live with 5 foot.
Did he say it's
There.
Brian to one of the neighbors?
He is one there.
Yes, that is correct.
I doubt either, yeah.
Well, the chair will be glad to entertain a motion either way.
The houses there are large. It's sensitive right now, how many houses. But yeah, I was not sure about.
Since there's silence, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve case 21-1000006 as written and described.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second, so we do a vote.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Francis Reddington,
No,
Jeff Trular,
No.
Scott Cummings,
No.
Aaron Crowley,
No.
John Moreland.
No. Okay, your request has been turned down. Next item, please.
Case number BOA 21-100015. Applicant owner Caitlin Chandler. Property address 1052 Penman Road. Parcel ID 179-136-0000. Legal description, Lot 6, Block 51, Section 8, Jacksonville Beach. Current zoning RS2. Wish to consider variance from the Land Development Code Sections 34-337E1 for 51% lot coverage on Bill 35 and 34-373D for parking area setback of 1 foot in lieu of 5 feet minimum to allow for expansion of an existing single family dwelling.
Okay, if you'll please, have yourself be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you could please state your name and address and speak clearly into the microphone.
Aaron Bush, 1052 Penman Road.
Can you describe for us the nature of the hardship created by your property, please?
The hardship created by the property is that the lot size itself is very small. It makes it difficult to comply with 35% maximum. Actually, I think our lot how it is already is set over 35%. And so in order to make any type of driveway expansion, it sets us over the 35%. The reason that we're trying to make the expansion is a safety concern. Our driveway, you can see, is just a small single-car driveway that goes above kind of the edge of the lot there. Makes it very difficult to see when pulling out, according to next-door neighbors there. We actually had it's difficult for us to see pulling out and for people to see us. We very recently had, in early January, a hit-and-run incident with our parking in our driveway. And so we just wanted to make an expansion so that we were able to have both cars not on the right way and so that we could see pulling out both sides.
Okay. I live very close to that whole lot. I see quite concerned now. Have you done a radius circle to see what that circle looks like? Because that's a pretty tight radius.
It is a very tight radius.
Because if you put the driveway to the property edge, then you need another variance, correct? This would be, if we put the driveway radius out all the way to the edge, that triggers another potential. I want to see how a problem when we go through this, that's all. So you didn't think about straight in and just doing back-end parking?
So we actually looked into that quite a bit as far as trying to do the straight and back out. If you make it just the small, the 10-foot width, we didn't come within the side of the other property. It's just a single lane. It wouldn't be a double wide circle. So it would be a small circle, similar to the current width that's there.
I can understand the challenge of trying to pull up, and
That's tough.
Definitely a safety hazard.
I appreciate people parking inside your driveway, not so when I pull out, I can't.
Right,
You know, see that,
yeah.
you walk the view.
Right.
It's really up and down, and they all kind of look like this. Very dangerous.
We have given a variance down in that neighborhood for a new home with a circular driveway on Penland.
On the other side, correct.
And it certainly is substandard lot, 4,350 feet.
Right.
Just remember the 51% mark.
Yeah. Have you thought about how you might bring it down below 50% lot coverage?
49.9?
Yeah. No, I trust me. I tried to do that. I thought it would have been easier, but just being honest with the small size of the lot, the 51%. Even if you look at the concrete coverage, it takes 51%. That's under 35% for the actual standard lot size now.
Mm-hmm.
So I really thought honestly 51 is the lowest that we could get it and still keep that circle small.
So you plan on putting that down concrete?
Right.
Have you considered pervious pavers?
So pervious pavers, I haven't definitively wanted to use yet. We were trying to make it that would be all pervious in front of the concrete there. It wasn't going to be too much of an expansion of the concrete, so we're trying to make it more of a long-standing structure, so we wouldn't have to do it again.
So what I see pretty common is a concrete apron, and then they do either gravel or some other surface that gets you under your 50%.
Right. Now we could potentially try something on the edges. I just think the 51% was really difficult for us to get to in the first place, and that was making a lot of sacrifices with the width in general, and keeping that, the current structure is still just a single lot. We weren't even gonna widen that much.
Because the city of Jacksonville Beach has just recently allowed certain impervious pavers.
Up to 50%, I believe. Unless they've changed that.
As a board, typically, we try to keep everything under 50%.
Right, now I understand. The reason I'm just asking for it, if possible, is just because of the extent, I think, of how small the lot size is.
It's understandable. Again, it's over 50% what you're asking for, and we could never get involved on this board with getting over 50%. That's all I'm saying.
No, I understand.
And my sense is that you could accomplish the safety improvement with impervious pavers just as well as if you use concrete.
Possibly.
Is there a cost difference in the concrete and the foot pavers?
The pavers are significantly more expensive, so it would be more difficult for us. So if it's possible, I would appreciate concrete.
Gravel's cheap.
We're trying to get, we're not here to design your driveway either.
And gravel's not recommended on a driveway that abuts the main artery road like that. We'll have-
I just thought.
I would point out though, in the event that the board so chooses and allows him the 49.9, he could probably accomplish this thing by simply doing a small border of impervious pavers along the edges of the concrete.
Yeah,
Possibly the
yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Or you just do a inside radius of impervious pavers.
Yeah, if we did that, then we would go 49% and we'd all be happy leaving there.
49, but 49.5 or 49, yeah, just so we have consistency, yeah. But just to get you there. We just see the hardship and safety concerns.
Right. A lot that small, it doesn't take very many square footage to make it.
Sure. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Not one would.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
And I bring the matter back for the board.
Make a motion for case number, okay, BOA 21-100015 for a maximum lot coverage of 49.9% with another 5 feet driveway extension to existing single dwelling.
Second.
And the parking setback,
Yes, marking setback stays.
this includes also 5 foot.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, I ask for a roll call vote.
Francis Reddington,
Yes.
Jeff Truitt,
Yes.
Scott Cummings,
Yes.
Owen Crowley,
Yes.
John Moylan.
Yes. Your motion has been approved as modified.
Thank you.
Next item?
Case number BOA 21-100016. Applicant owner Jose Tamio, agent Jim Batts, the Batts Company. Property address 3538 A Island Circle. Parcel ID 180-949-18040. Legal description. Lot 148 Ocean K, Unit 2, HUD, Ocean K. A variance from land code sections, HUD ordinance number 2002-7843 for 51% lot coverage in over 45 to allow for pool and paver deck with screen enclosure addition to existing single-family building.
Okay, if you will please allow yourself to be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you can please state your name and address for the record.
Jim Batts, 1602 North 3rd Street, Jacksonville Beach, Florida, 32250.
And if you describe the nature of the hardship,
Yes, sir. I'm proposing a swimming pool and enclosure for Dr. Jose Cameo and his family. Hardship is that he's got a huge drainage ditch behind his property, and they were fearful of the mosquitoes and other things that might get into the pool area if it was not enclosed.
just help me understand what the zoning of a PUD Ocean K is? Am I supposed to reference that to it? Am I not? Is it an RS1, RS2?
It's 25%.
I'm not. What I'm saying was like,
It's not an RS nor an RS2.
It's a flood.
Yeah.
So-
Specification.
zone application, right? So,
But that, the Ocean K has standards, and you actually have to get approval to, from them also, do you not?
Yes, sir, we've gotten approval from them. When we went to do the topo survey, we discovered that the first survey I had was not real legible. So when Durden went out and did the survey, we found that the lot coverage we had was larger than we thought it was.
It's a lot.
More than 45%.
Yes, sir. It was
47.6.
47.6. With include, well, it was 47.6 without pool.
Doesn't figure into the percent lot coverage, but the edges of it, or the patio or anything would.
Exactly.
Mr. Betts, excuse me. Just noticing here on the survey, your surveyor, when he done your impervious calculations, included your pool coping in that.
Yes, sir.
We normally don't count that. Is it larger than 12 by 12?
What, the footing?
The coping of the pool.
No.
So that 59 square foot should not have been included. Okay?
Thank you.
Just wanted to make note of that. I don't know how it slipped through, but it should not have been counted. So that would reduce your 51.7 by whatever 59 square foot does to it.
Do you know what it would reduce it to?
I have to do the math. And I don't have a calculator, John. So,
Actually, I ran that.
You guys, yeah.
It comes out to 50.2%.
and then you have the proposed pavers 4 feet by 13.5. Is that for a purpose? Because it doesn't only connects to a walkway.
What the pavers connect to is, he has a lanai, existing lanai of his house,
Okay.
and it connects to the right side and left side of the lanai. Oh, I'm sorry, we got a little piece off to the left.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the old fan. You know, that was something he wanted to add over there because there was no area to sit outside the stream enclosure if we enclosed it. So I added that to it.
Okay. That's,
actually, if you reduce that to 3 foot, deducted the coping, you'd be at about 49.9%. Just saying.
Okay.
getting there.
Can you live with 49.9?
We can live with it, absolutely.
Okay. You heard the last one.
Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, you may be seated.
Thank you.
I call the public hearing to an end and bring it back to the board.
I'm okay with 49.9, even if he doesn't go 3 feet, comes in 10 feet, one way or the other, he gets that space back.
Yep, let him make the decision.
I'll make a motion to, ordinance number 2002-7842449.9% lot coverage, move a 4-5 maximum allowable pool, gable deck with screen enclosure addition of existing single-family dwelling.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
You moved and seconded, any discussion? If there's no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Jim Trudeau.
Yes.
Scott Cummings.
Yes.
Francis Reddington. Owen Crowley.
Yes.
John Moore.
Yes. Okay, our next meeting is April the 6th, on Tuesday, and there are 5 scheduled cases. Do we have a motion to adjourn? No, like to hang out, motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Move and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.